got it for 3 reasons. Right time, right place, and right
Is
job.
that fake chest hair?
Yes, it is fake chest hair. I did it so you could see the Star of David a little better.
That's really funny.
This is where the troops go in the back right there.
So I never do introductions for the show. You guys already know how it works, but we have special guests. First ever real comedian, military and comedian on the show. And the first ever Navy guy who is not a corpsman, by the way. I'm pretty sure you weren't a corpsman, right?
Oh, no, yeah. I was originally an EW, and then we got mashed into one rate with the CTTs, so I ended up a CTT.
Okay. Well, I do have to give you the introductory fist bump.
Nice.
Show. I'm cutting through the mic. But a lot of the like your followers watching, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like not a lot. We all know you as a comedian. That's how I knew you. But like people, like you being in the Navy, that's not like too much of like your identity or story. Is it?
No, not really. As far as like my comedy and stuff, I really haven't gotten into a lot of my Navy. So I do some Navy jokes, but just kind of surface level, nothing too in depth.
Yeah. Can you correct, because Marine here, so the lingo of your job, no idea what it is.
Oh, okay.
But if you could just brush me up to it.
So my main job was called anti-ship missile defense, which means that if we had a missile inbound, my job was to use countermeasures to make it not hit the ship.
Okay, that sounds OP. I had no idea that you would be the guy for that, but that sounds OP.
Yeah, well, it was a fun rate, but unfortunately, there's not much civilian jobs that call for that. It's radar analyzation. So, because, a lot of missiles have active radars, and if they don't, then you got to find out what other seeking methods they're using based on the platform and all that stuff they're fired from. So
yeah, okay, yeah. So I assume Carnival Cruises won't be looking.
No, yeah, unfortunately, yeah. When I got out of because there's two types of the job I was doing. There's technician and operator, and I was an operator only, so not much of a civilian job for that. So
yeah. Now you said you went from that to CW.
No, so I started as a EW, which is electronic warfare.
Oh, okay.
But then they eliminated that rate and mashed it in with CTs, cryptologic technicians, cover a lot of different rates. But the one I went into was a cryptologic technician technical.
Okay.
So CTT, and yeah.
Now, from that name, because I would never, I don't mean this as an insult, but I would never guess you, like, because these jobs do sound pretty cool, like, compared to what I hear.
Yeah, it does, but really a CTT was just the onshore version of what I was doing. So analyzing radars mostly. You have active and passive. So passive, you have an antenna that soaks up the radars, and you can you do what's called hull to emitter correlation. For example, every ship has a certain radar loadout. Yeah. For example, one of the most easy things to identify as a submarine, it has what's called a BIPS 15, but it's very hard to find their radar because they're usually underwater. But anytime you find a BIPS 15, you know a submarine is in the area because it popped up, did a scan, went right back down.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. There was another one. There was one that was connected to aircraft carriers. We were always looking for that because I was on an older ship, so a lot of times we were used for operation forces during war games and stuff. So we were always trying to sink Navy vessels, which was kind of interesting. But
did you ever catch, because like my brain's running through, like, were there times when you actually did like catch like a Russian warship or like something that's like spying or anything?
Oh,
like,
no,
cool stuff?
No, not really. It was kind of a fluke, but I ended up, like I said, on a really old ship. We actually sold it to Turkey about 15 years ago, I think.
Okay.
The Navy does that a lot. Most of the other navies, especially our allied navies, most of them are just repurposed U.S. Navy ships. Okay. So the Thomas S. Gates was the ship I'm on. It was one of the first Aegis class cruisers. Mm-hmm. I think it was commissioned in like 86. So I was on it from 01 to 05. Okay. And I believe they scrapped it probably 2 years after I got out, and ended up selling the hull to Turkey and let them refurbish it with whatever they want to put on there, you know.
I just had a wild idea pop into my mind, right? So I'm thinking, you know, because correct me if I'm wrong, but like if you stayed on that ship, you probably deployed with it. You know, you like in a sense lived on the ship. Did you leave any like weird surprises or just like nasty stuff on that ship?
Oh, well, so
the
this is sort of embarrassing, but I don't know.
Hey, it's what we're here for.
The last day I was in the Navy, went out and got pretty hammered, and I pissed the bed. but because I was out of the Navy, I just flipped the mattress over and left. Because as soon as I woke up, I was out of the Navy. So, you know, it happens. I think I was 25, something like that, 24, something. I don't know, but
that's just some Turkish dude. Just
I did pour Pine Sol on the other side. So, and then I just left.
Did you at least try to scrub it though? Like, you know.
No, I was out of the Navy. It was no longer my concern.
True. You transferred to Civ Div at that point, so.
It was kind of a pissy way to leave, but it's okay.
Great wordplay.
Yeah, thank you.
What because everybody has this story, but why the Navy? You know, what made you go in?
Well, I mean, the Navy. So I'm from a really small town where basically you can only, if you want a decent job, you have to work at a chemical plant. I didn't want to work at a chemical plant, so I decided to basically go into the military for the college money. Then I wasted the college money on history degrees, so that's a whole nother story. But no, I was going to go to the military most likely, and I do have pretty bad feet. I have like super flat feet, so I decided to go to the Navy.
Okay.
Ended up somehow getting in and making it through for 4 years, so.
Did nobody let you in because of the flat feet?
My recruiter had to teach me how to walk a certain way, because mine are like actual Flintstone feet. Like I'm actually on 60% disability for my feet. Yeah.
Really?
They're really that bad. I wasn't gonna do the military disability thing, but then when I got to LA, the only little part-time job I could find was working at a Whole Foods doing stocking during like the Thanksgiving season. So it was 6 days, 8 hours a day on my feet all day. And I hadn't had a job where I was on my feet, and then they swole up and I couldn't walk for like my day off and all this stuff. So I finally like had to go, you know, seek the whole medical thing. So,
hey, money talks, dude. I get it.
Oh yeah. But
disability out there is probably pretty good. Was probably pretty good.
It's helpful. It's helpful. You know, there's a lot of actors and comics that are ex-military, and once you do get on the whole disability thing, it does help you focus on the art stuff. So that's nice.
Okay. Now you said you were in from 01 to 05. Is that your time frame? So were you in like during 9/11 or how was that transition?
And I'm actually gonna eventually talk about this on stage. 9/11 happened 1 week after I got out of boot camp.
No shit.
So I don't know how it works with the Marines, but with the Navy, at least where I was at, I was stationed in Pensacola for Pensacola. That's a mashup of Pensacola and Pascagoula. I was in Pensacola for A school, and for the first like 2 weeks after boot camp, you still have to stay in uniform and all that stuff. So we were, you know, marching in formation to go get McDonald's, which, as you know, after boot camp, that's a big deal, you know. And then all of a sudden, everybody's watching the planes fly into the towers and stuff. And, of course, then they're like, well, you know, we don't know what's going to happen. The base, of course, went to a much more heightened state of alert. You couldn't go out of town in your uniform, which meant that the people that were still on that uniform hold, which include me, we couldn't go out until we just got out of boot camp, and now they're telling us you can't go anywhere. It's like, darn, you know. So it was a whole thing. But like I said, I ended up in a ship out of Mississippi, and all we did was counter drug ops. Went to South America a bunch. You know, we never even. I tried to do a temporary assigned duty, because I mean, hazard pay is really good.
Oh yeah.
And as far as the Navy, I mean, Afghanistan, Iraq, all those folks we were at war at, they don't have a Navy really to speak of, if they do have any ships. So I had tried to do a temporary assigned duty, but they just wouldn't let us. So,
Oh, okay.
you know.
Where in South America did you get to go to? Because I imagine the Libo probably had to have been
South
banging.
America, yeah, South America was great. We did what was called a unitas, which is basically just a training exercise deployment with a bunch of South American and Central American navies. We would just go out there and do war games. But the thing was, like, a lot of those countries' navies, they can't go out for a sustained amount of time.
Yeah.
They can only go out for about 2 weeks. So we were actually home ported out of Panama for about 4 months. We would just keep going back to Panama City, which I guess is technically Central America. But as far as where in South America, we did Argentina, Chile, we did Brazil 2 or 3 times, Uruguay. There's more I'm forgetting. Ecuador, Peru, which is, I really liked Peru.
Okay.
But yeah, a lot of spots.
Yeah, it sounds like you hit essentially the whole continent.
Yeah, we did go around the continent. We actually went around the Horn of South Africa. The weather decks were secured because it was something like 40 below, because it's close to the Antarctica.
Oh, yeah, Antarctica, yeah.
So it was pretty interesting.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I'm obviously all the younger people want to know, but like the Libo, there had to have been like, you have to have some funny Libo stories between like either getting hammered and trying to get back on,
Oh, yeah.
chasing girls, whatever.
Well, there was a couple, one of them was, so usually we were an independent steamer, which mean that we were the only American ship in the group and everything. But one of my second deployment, this is the one where we went around the Horn. We were actually the first deployment for the USS Reagan, because they built it, I guess, in Virginia or whatever.
Yeah.
And then it has to go to San Diego. So we were helping the transport to San Diego.
Oh, okay.
And because of that, now the Reagan was in charge of Liberty. And their whole thing was you had to get a hotel and you had to show your ship that you had a hotel, and you had to be in your hotel at midnight. That's when Liberty was over, right?
Oh, okay.
So we took that to heart, and what we did was we got a bunch of beers, put them in the sink, put ice on them, got our hotel. We went to our ship, told them, we're back in the room for 11:30.
Yeah.
But nobody said what time Liberty started the next day. So we were back out at 12:05. And the thing was, we saw some officers. We were at a strip club, and we saw some officers from the Reagan. And we were like, uh-oh, and they were like, yeah, no, we did the same thing. Yeah, nobody said what time you could go back out. So as long as you were in for 12.
Yeah, no, of course.
Yeah. So it was, stuff like that. But
yeah,
it was fun. We did a lot of, Panama was fun. So yeah, the whole thing was kind of a blast. That's one reason why, as a comic, like, I kind of got sour on the whole traveling aspect of it. I've done a lot of traveling,
You mean like the Navy kind of, I don't want to say made you tired of traveling, but you got used to it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't need to see the world as much as some of these other guys that, they want to go here and there. And I've already been a lot of places, Yeah. That's one reason why I kind of jumped at the chance to move to Albuquerque, make Hyenas like kind of my home club,
Yeah.
And just kind of work out of here. So.
Yeah, that's one thing I've heard about traveling the world or just doing extensive travel. It's almost the equivalent to like a vice, like whether it be alcohol or women or like some type of pleasure. It's not as fulfilling as a lot of people think it is, and you get used to it pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, and it can get really expensive, even if like other people are paying for the actual travel in the hotel. You still want to go out, you still want to, So I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm jaded on traveling, but just don't have to travel as much as I used to. So.
No, of course. Now, obviously, your claim to fame is being a comedian. That's how we met. That's how most of the people that'll probably be watching or like new to my show will know you. But when did you start your comedy career in terms of like from the Navy and like going on? I mean, did you were you a comedian or doing open mics in the Navy or how?
No. So when I got out of the Navy, I went into radio. I was originally going to do sports radio, but then I started doing political radio.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah. I was at the time, I would say if I had it, I don't adhere to any party, but now I'm sort of a pseudo-anarchist after the whole pandemic. But I was sort of like a libertarian type. I actually worked for Dan Patrick, the lieutenant governor of Texas, that's like banning weed and all that
Really?
stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, I might be the only person that worked with Dan Patrick and Kevin Hart. I'm pretty sure. So
That's funny, though.
yeah.
Did
Oh, well, long story short, I got laid off from the radio job, and then I started comedy in 2011, yeah.
Okay. Now, with getting laid off from the radio, I mean, what motivated you to go into comedy from that? Did you just need to talk? Like, did you just
Yeah,
feel the need to talk
so
more?
I had my own show, so I was doing my own show every Saturday.
Okay.
And I was looking for work and everything, and I was just trying to find a creative outlet. I had always wanted to try stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
And I was good at radio. The reason I got laid off is because we had 2 stations, and then one got sold, so we had to like get rid of some folks. So it was like no hard feelings, but I decided I didn't want to get back into radio. I wanted to try something else, and tried stand-up comedy, and it went really well. And then I was actually going to get back into the Navy, so this was in April I started.
What year?
And of 2011.
Oh, okay.
I had already graduated, so I had my degree. And I was actually in talks with some recruiters trying to get back into the Navy as an officer.
Okay.
And I told myself if I made any money in comedy before that happened, then I would. And I did. I made a little bit of money in comedy, and so I just stuck with comedy, and so it's going pretty well. I like it.
Of course, yeah. How was because I imagine going from politics or, political radio, I mean, obviously you're very serious. You're not really there to entertain a crowd, but then you're having to go into a much more diverse group being comedy. How was that transition?
Well, I say politics. I did a lot of jokes about it.
Okay.
That's one reason why I took to comedy faster than some people that do start at open mic level, because I already knew how to write a joke and stuff like that. I knew how to research different websites to find stuff you could talk about.
Yeah.
I will say though, my first open mic, I did a political joke and only half the crowd laughed. So I decided at that point I'm not going to do any political humor. I really don't do any political humor. I do a little Trump impersonation right now for this one joke, but it's not, whatever. Trump's a cartoon character, so it's kind of easy. It's such an easy impersonation too. You just
you can only be like,
yeah.
the body language anyone can
pretty
do.
much, yeah. So
Tim's the greatest comedian I've ever seen. He's a great negotiator, by the way.
yeah, but no, it's so I try to just I do mostly jokes, self-deprecation, just normal stuff. So I stay away from politics on the stage. Really, I don't.
Oh yeah. Now, like being in Albuquerque, because you correct me if I'm wrong, but you got your start in Houston.
Yes.
So Albuquerque, from what I've gathered, it's much more like the comedy scene. It's small town, very liberal, a little that way, and it's good and different in its own ways. But how is the Houston comedy scene compared to here?
So when I started, Houston comedy scene was crazy because we only had one club at the time. So it's the 3rd or 4th largest city, whichever. I think 4th right now. So that was crazy. We only have 2 now that are full time. So you really have to be good, especially back then in Houston, to get any kind of stage time.
Yeah.
But it's like any scene. There's cliques, and you have beef with people and stuff like that. But as far as scenes, I really like the Albuquerque scene. I love the fact that almost every open mic has sign up at 7 p.m. and starts at 8. Like, you don't have to think, well, when do I show up for this one? Is this one an email sign in? Is this, No, pretty much everyone is show up, go up. If you get there early, you get to go up early.
That's an aspect I forgot about. I realize that all the time's pretty much a lot. It's so convenient to do that.
Yeah, it's really good. It's so much different than, like, for example, when I was in LA, you've got the Hollywood Improv open mic, for example, which is one of the worst run open mics on the planet. 60 comics show up for time. You get 3 minutes. Probably they only do it for an hour and a half, 2 hours. So as you can imagine, only about 20 people go up, maybe. And then, of course, like many scenes, they rig the bucket. So bucket systems are almost always rigged.
Yeah.
So I like it much better. The whole sign up, go up thing, stuff like that. So
yeah. So how long were you? Because I know you went from Houston to LA and then Albuquerque. Do I have that time? So how long were you in Houston before you went to LA?
So I was in Houston from, like I said, I started in April of 11, and then in March of 2016, I got picked to be on Heart of the City, HART of the City. It's Kevin Hart's thing for Comedy Central. And we filmed that in May, and then it aired in October. And then I moved to...
Wait, can I backtrack real quick? So wait, was that like a special or a show? I don't know.
It's a show. So what they did was they went to, I think, 8 different cities. It was 8 episodes the first season. It ran for 3 seasons. Yeah. And they would pick comics that had no TV appearances. So in our case, we had myself, a guy named Alfred Kanga, who was actually from Dallas, but he's good people. Ken Boyd, very funny, and Crystal Powell was the 4th one. So yeah, we filmed it in Cafe 4212, little jazz cafe in Houston, and it was really nice.
And is this on like YouTube and TV?
It's on Hulu, yeah. It's still on Hulu, unless, who knows with the changing of the licenses that they do on streaming. But last time I checked, it's Heart of the City, HART.
Yes, go watch and give Tim Mathis a follow, by the way.
The second episode is the Houston episode, so that's the one I'm on. Yeah.
I'm keeping a mental note of that because I want to see what you look like younger.
Oh,
and see
yeah,
your comedy
I'm
then.
much
Then
fatter. Like, if you think I'm fat right now, I was huge in that. I think I was like 235 pounds in that one, and I'm like 200 right now. So
that's not too bad. I mean,
it was bad. It was bad, but
I mean, was there like arthritis in the joints, or like you felt out of breath, or? Like,
well, I mean, I was fat, but yeah. So.
Now, can I ask? Because when I was when I interacted with the Navy, being in the Marines, there were not all of them, but quite a few fat people in the Navy. Was it like that, or
Oh yeah, well, because I mean, so the way the Navy works. When you're underway, especially on a small ship like we had, it's really hard to work out. Now, if you're on a carrier or something like that, where you just have like a whole gym, we had a gym in the fantail that was about half the size of the room we're in right now. Yeah, it was tiny. And then we had 2 treadmills, and that was it. And as you can imagine, if you're underway on a ship, running on a treadmill is very difficult because you're either going uphill then downhill, you're going port to starboard, and you're trying to stay on that thing was crazy.
Yeah, I learned the hard way when I because not to steal it, but like when I tried to do squats on the ship without even thinking about it, I straight up fell back like with the weight and everything.
Oh yeah, no, I hurt my shoulder, and it's actually one of my things that's in my so I was doing pullovers, and the bench was stationed port to starboard. So, and when I got about right here, the ship rocked, and it just wrecked my left shoulder. I was in like really good shape at the time, and it ended up like really, I couldn't lift for like probably 9 months or something like that. Like I almost had to have surgery on it and all this shit. So
like that whole deployment, you basically were just out of order.
Yeah, it was a mess, but no, so so what ends up happening is the ship is in charge of how often you're supposed to do physical activity, but because there's not really any place to do, like you can't do a command PT because there's no room for that anywhere.
No, of course.
You can't do push-ups on non-skid because that would destroy your hands.
Yeah.
So they end up just having random PRTs, PFAs, whatever you call it nowadays. And half the time people just kind of gun deck it. And, I know the last, especially because with my feet and my knee, I started having really bad symptoms of that the last 2 years, and I ended up getting out of the run like 3 years in a row, 2 years in a row, something like that, because I just couldn't do it.
Was that part of the reason you ended? I know everybody's got.
That is one of the reasons I ended up getting out. Like I said, I ended up almost going back in, which honestly probably wouldn't have worked. Physically, I don't think my feet and my knees would have been able to handle a full-term military career. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of a blessing that I didn't go back in. Yeah. But yeah, that's one reason why I got out. I got out actually a year early because when they combined our rates, if you had a separation date within a certain amount of time, you could get out early. So,
okay.
Like I said, I mainly signed up for the college money. So at that point, I was like, yeah, let's go ahead and go to college, you know.
No, of course, yeah. Now, you said you do a lot of self-deprecating humor. Have you talked about your flat feet a lot in your jokes?
I have not. I usually talk about, the first thing I do is talk about that. That is terrible.
Yeah.
I look like Carl from Aqua Teen. So there's a lot of jokes there.
I remember that.
Yeah. So it's really easy to make fun of that whole look. I used to shave my head and stuff like that, but then I was like, especially when I started kind of doing the acting thing in LA, this look kind of helps. Mm-hmm. They liked stuff like this, so. Oh yeah,
being in LA, like it stands out.
It does, yeah. So if you're doing acting, most people that are doing acting are very good looking, or at least good looking. Mm-hmm. So I decided pretty early on I'm not going to catch up to the Brad Pitts of the world, so I might as well steer into what I've got, which is this cartoonish look.
Yeah,
so
no, of course. I mean, you're painting an image or a character, essentially, and even in comedy, I imagine, that probably helps you out with your. I don't want to say gimmick if that's the right term.
Yeah. I mean, look, a lot of comics, if you watch them, so they might have a really funny voice. I've got a funny look, so it helps a little bit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that always I imagine there was probably times where you had to experiment or play with it, but was this like the facade that you imagined early on, or like are you still working with it now to create
Well, the reason why I used to I've always done a lot of self-deprecation, and the reason for that is, like most comics, when I first started out, I was the edgy, say the most shock comic type stuff. Yeah. And if you're going to do that and you're going to make fun of like people and stuff like that, it helps to make fun of yourself up front. Mm-hmm. I might spend 3 minutes making fun of myself before I start talking about anybody else. Yeah. And then that way the audience kind of is on your side, because they're like, well, if they'll make fun of themselves, we can't get mad when they poke fun at other people, So it's a kind of a disarming thing for stand-up comics.
Yeah, it's a way of, bringing their guard down or making you likable before you, throw the ammunition.
Well, yeah. So it's a really good tool, self-deprecation, as far as for comics. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, I haven't quite articulated it yet, but you obviously know, being in the Navy, but Marine Corps is the same way, very bust your balls kind of culture. Mm-hmm. Was it like that in the Navy, and do you feel that helped you in a way with your comedy, or has, added it or made it unique in some
yeah, man. We used to have a lot of fun doing that type of stuff. I mean, you're underway for 6 months at a time. Sometimes you don't go to port for months at a time. I mean, I know, and it wasn't myself, but I know when 9/11 did happen and they had some ships that were in the area, those guys ended up doing like 2 terms back to back. Damn. They had ships that were supposed to be heading back, and they just said, well, you are already there, so we're just going to keep you there. Jesus. So that happens all the time. So you have to have, like, you have to be able to blow off steam. Mm-hmm. I think one of the funniest... So CTTs are notorious. Well, CTs, cryptologic technicians. Yeah. It's a nerdy rate. All right. It's one of those rates where you got to score really high on the ASVAB. So we get a lot of those.
What was your ASVAB, by the way?
Mine was 87. It wasn't like super high.
Coming from the Marines is pretty high.
We had some, we had some folks. Probably half our divisions were nuke dropouts. Okay. People that couldn't hack it in the nuke school, so they're already E4s, and then they make them cryptologic technicians. Mm-hmm. So anyway, we had a lot of weird people, and this one guy was an Odinist. In other words, he worshipped the Norse gods, the
Whoa, okay.
that type of nerd. And I roasted him one time by talking about the time his god Thor got into a Marvel team up with Spider-Man, and it was kind of funny, yeah. But stuff like that, you make fun of people. I guess I could talk about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
One guy sprained his dick.
Wait, that's possible?
You can, yeah. It was so having sex, chick on top, her pelvis came down on the head of his dick and bent it. And we were and here's the funny part, and we were just having so much fun making fun of him because we were heading home in 2 weeks. And he was married. He was freaking out. He was so worried that his shit wasn't gonna be right, and
I'd be worried too.
Yeah. So, but I guess it all worked out in the end because he didn't get killed when he got home. So that's nice. But yeah. So so you gotta make fun of some people sometimes when you're all in it together.
Oh, of course. I mean, like they say, was it misery loves company, that type of thing?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So. No, but it was fun. Wouldn't do it again myself. Maybe if I was still 20. Yeah. But at 44, I wouldn't do it. So yeah.
And looking back on the whole experience, I mean, what do you think about it? Like, do you regret it? Do you want to go? Like, would you do it again?
It was good, but I'm like, so I don't know if I would sign up for the military again, just because I'm super anti-war. I don't know. I know I say I don't talk about politics because I don't on stage, but the United States government is ridiculous. Like you're
not being divisive.
Yeah, the military-industrial complex is out of control. Like we've been at war. If you think about it, I'm 44. We've been in some sort of war, mostly illegal, for my entire life.
Yeah.
And that's crazy.
Yeah.
So. I don't disparage anybody who signs up. I wouldn't disparage anybody who's serving. It's not your fault. You're not starting the wars. I'm glad, like, the time period I've served in, I have friends that are maimed for life. I have friends that took lives. I had friends that their friends died.
Yeah.
One of my best friends is 90% PTSD. He did 4 tours in Afghanistan, and in one trip, I think he said he doesn't like to talk about it, obviously, but half his tank crew died. And it was under his watch, and just look at the suicide rate of veterans and stuff like that. I lived in LA where there's a whole tent city set up around the VA hospital.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. If you drive, I can't remember which side of it is on. But there's one side, it's just 200, 300 tents because it's all veterans.
All the cities
it's homeless veterans.
Wow.
And now, granted, I have heard that they are making a whole homeless shelter for these guys.
Oh, okay.
But they say, well, they get their medical from the VA, so if they don't have a house, they might as well just set up shop right next to where they're going to have to go anyway. So
yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. I wouldn't say I regret it because the benefits are good, the college and all that stuff. But as far as when I signed up, one of the reasons why I did the job I did, EW, was because I never wanted to have to kill anybody. I would, if I did sign up, I'd do the same thing, make sure I did a rate where I wasn't firing at anybody downrange and stuff.
Yeah.
Especially with the way our foreign policy is. And like I said, the military-industrial complex is out of control, so
it's bad.
It's bad, yeah.
Like, I mean, just to even add to your point from how bad it is. I mean, like, I was born in '98, so I don't even remember. I have no memory of the towers going down. And by the time I served, we were still. I have buddies of mine who were in Syria and in Afghanistan, weren't even alive to see what event caused that.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, I recommend anybody, especially Marines, if you haven't read the book "War Is a Racket," great read, by the way.
Yeah.
Have you read that book by chance? Or?
Is that Smedley Butler?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. They I can't remember the backstory of that. They wanted him to be they wanted him to be the presidential nominee or something because they wanted to do more wars or something. That's when he realized that everything was. Yeah. It's a good read. I'm from Ron Paul's district. So I used to
okay.
drive to Houston, and there was a big sign that would say Ron Paul War is a racket. Didn't read it until after I was out, but so I don't know. I might still would have gone in maybe when I was in my 20s, but it would be difficult for me to do it now, I think.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because in terms of like when you think bigger picture, maturity aspect, I didn't think of it. Nobody thinks of that when you're 20, 18 years old. But, in terms of, because a lot of people mention, you learn the discipline, you make good connections, you have benefits. At least in that respect, do you look at it and say, yeah, it was worth it, or maybe it was underwhelming, but, did you like it that way?
Yeah, no, I mean, the experience was fine. Like I said, because I never went to an actual war zone.
Yeah.
I might have a different view of it there, but no, it was fun.
Mm-hmm. I love it. So what's the, obviously, it was a little while ago, you're doing comedy now, but what's the, the next adventure, the next, on sea route, for Tim Mathis? Just keep doing comedy, or you have more ambitions?
Oh, we've got, it's actually, you mentioned corpsman earlier. My co-writer is a corpsman.
Oh, really? Okay.
Jadaryl Belzer and myself, we had a job during the pandemic, and we had met doing a show for Netflix called 100 Humans. Okay. But we ended up writing a couple of movies. So one of them is a micro-budget mockumentary about disc golf. I don't know if you've seen the 30 for 30 documentaries, sports documentaries on ESPN.
Yeah, I've seen those.
So we wrote something similar about a failed disc golf tournament set in 07. Okay. We got a GoFundMe up right now. Just Google Two Veterans mockumentary Frisbee golf or disc golf. It'll pop up. So that's one reason why I moved to New Mexico, because it's going to be cheaper to film in New Mexico and Texas than it is to film in LA. So, came out here. So trying to drum up some money. That's one reason why I'm doing my my shows at Hyenas. Next one is October 19th, everybody. Best of Borque. I don't know how to say it yet. Borque. Borque. Yeah, the Best of Borque. Come check that out. Those are the two main projects I'm working on now, are doing my local shows and trying to get this mockumentary. We're looking to start shooting next year. So.
Okay, sick.
Yeah.
If you guys want to come out to see Walter White in New Mexico, go see everything Tim Mathis has going for him.
Yeah.
It's going to be funny. Well, we've been on air, I believe, for 40-ish minutes, 45 minutes?
Something like that.
40? Okay. Yeah, we can rock a little bit, I would say. What hands down, what do you think was the funniest? I know you've shared a couple embarrassing moments, but what was like the funniest excursion or weirdest experience that you were like, yeah, this will always be ingrained in me from the Navy?
In the Navy, the funniest. I'm trying to think. Oh, well, I don't know if it's that funny, but we used to give fake names to the chicks in South America just in case, somebody got pregnant. And my buddy had settled on Jesus, and I told everybody my name was Chewy, which was funnier because at one point one of my Spanish-speaking buddies informed me that Chewy is actually short for Jesus. I did not know that. So we were telling these chicks. Another one of my friends went even worse. He would tell the chicks his name was people that he didn't like from the ship. That way, if he got anybody pregnant,
Jesus Christ,
they would find out and they would get in trouble. So stuff like that, yeah. It just.
Now, were these all strippers or just like general, broads? That
It all depends. One of my buddies won 600,000 Chilean dollars, which is like about, at the time it was like $700 still $700 US goes a long way at a Chilean strip club.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it was still a pretty baller moment. But yeah, I don't know. We did a lot of weird stuff. I ended up going to a strip club in Mayport, Florida, and making money, so that was pretty good.
Whoa, okay.
Their stage was only about 6 inches high.
Okay.
And the reason we went there is they had $5 pitchers. So what I would do is, when the strippers were on the other side of the stage, I would just rake with my foot some money and then we would go buy the pitchers. So we sat there for all night and didn't spend any money. So that was pretty nice.
Dude, I don't know if your liver either is like superhuman right now or if it's just like shot after all the
Well, I really dialed it back as far as the drinking. So I was stationed in Pascagoula, Mississippi on my actual ship, and that was, as you can imagine, nothing else to do there but drink.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I went to college and did comedy, so it was a lot of alcohol, but now I'm pretty much just a pothead. So I drink a little bit, but nothing like I used to.
Oh, yeah. I'd much rather have a world of potheads than alcoholics.
I would, too. That's, like I say, that's my main beef with the state of Texas, my home state.
Yeah, the most conservative state out there won't even allow people to smoke. That blows my mind.
They ban weed and you have to register for porn. So I know when I'm not welcome. You know, it's you don't have to tell me to leave. I'm already gone.
Did you campaign for this when you had your political show or like when you had the Satire? Did you campaign to get those two moves? You know.
Well, you know what's interesting? I did not know how anti-pot Dan Patrick is, and when I was working for him at the radio station, this was KSEV in Houston. This was right before he started running for major office and stuff. And you know, on my show, even though I didn't smoke at the time, I was mostly a libertarian. So, as you know, libertarians they don't care.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to do drugs, you know, as long as you're not forcing it on kids or whatever, that's fine. You know. Yeah. And that was my whole attitude. And I guess that's one reason why he never gave me a primetime show. I didn't realize, like, you know, just how anti-weed he was at the time, you know.
Texas seems to me more like boomer conservative than it is like actual libertarian.
It's religious conservative, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I was raised in a super religious like household and stuff, and I don't know what it is about religious conservative Republican types. They claim to want freedom and all that stuff, but then as soon as they get enough power, they immediately start trying to dictate their own morals on other people, you know? And it's like, okay, if you don't want to smoke, if you don't want to go to a strip club, if you don't want to do all, you know, that's fine. If you don't, but some people want to. Some people want to go have fun.
Some people want to have $5 pitchers.
Exactly, yeah. But, you know, it's a weird thing because it happens all the time, you know? It happens every time they get in enough power and stuff like that, so... it's weird that Texas is surrounded by states that have. If Oklahoma is more progressive than you, if Oklahoma and Arkansas are more progressive than, like, maybe you're a little too far in the past there, bud. Like, I don't understand how we're getting our butts beat by Oklahoma on that. It's crazy.
Yeah, dude. I don't even know what to say to that. That's so true and funny.
That's wild.
Well, I think it's a perfect joke and segue to wrap it up on, but to end it, because most of the audience is military, Navy, Marine Corps, a little bit of every other branch, but to those who are listening that are still in the service, any advice at all that you want to give to them while they're listening to you right now?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, you know, I don't agree with a lot of the stuff the United States does with its military, but if you are in the military, I understand. You know, your situation, do the best you can, you know, don't get kicked out, get an honorable discharge. You know, you don't want to get messed up on any of that stuff. Don't smoke weed until you get out, guys. But I could do what one of my buddies told me to do, and I didn't do this when I was in, so I had a CT-1 who is a 19-year first class, so 19-year E6, if that tells you anything.
Okay.
And his whole thing was, man, I go to medical every month with a new complaint because they can't tell you how much something hurts. He said by the time he got out, he had 90% disability and all that mess. So you can game the system like that. I'm not telling you to. But, you know, just keep your nose clean. If you want to stay in for 20, that's your prerogative. I'm not going to judge anybody for what they do with their life. I personally, you know, I did my time and got out. But if you want to make a career of it, that's fine. It's just you got to know what you're getting into. It's the geopolitical situation is terrible, and it might only get worse. I mean, I can only imagine what type of weapons they have now. Drone warfare is crazy.
God, that scares the shit
That's
out of me.
really crazy. When I watch these videos of like drone, like they're using them a lot in that Russia-Ukraine conflict, and you see videos of like drones chasing down people and then blowing up. Right? It's like crazy. Yeah. And I get that they're at war and like, okay, tactics are tactics, but holy, how do you fight a little bitty drone that's moving all over the place? It's crazy. So I don't know.
You don't, and you send a prayer up there.
Exactly. Yeah, it's wild. So I don't know. I would just say, good luck and don't get kicked out for stupid shit is the main thing, because you at least want to get your honorable discharge. You want to get your benefits. I know a lot of guys that got kicked out with other than honorable, and some of them are still trying to get benefits, even though it's really hard to if you don't get that honorable discharge. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Good, practical, and objective advice. I love that.
Yeah.
Anything for the comedians in New Mexico watching, or anyone who's coming to New Mexico? Anything you want to plug? Put out there.
Yeah. For the comedians of Albuquerque, you guys are really funny. You got a lot of talent in the town. I am booking those best of Borque. I don't know. Borque. There it is. Borque. Yeah, I sound more Italian when I say that. Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for everybody, man. You just keep working, guys. I know some people get frustrated if they don't get booked right away, but I'm gonna try to book everybody that I at least see working on being funnier.
Yeah.
You know who's working on stuff and who's not when you go to open mics. You see some people doing the same 3 minutes that's never worked, and it's like, well, you got to move on. So, but yeah, it's a great scene. I really like it out here,
Oh, yeah. It's got its own stamp and impression. I love that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah. Well, Tim, Mr. Mathis, I don't know if you go by your slave name from
no.
all the older years, but I can't thank you enough for being on. This was a pleasure to have.
Oh, well, thank you. It was fun.
All right, perfect. Yeah, first ever New Mexican and comedian on the show. Great episode. All right,
thanks, guys.
Yeah, we're out of here, everybody.
Cool.
Yeah, perfect.